Video is a training session on effective public speaking strategies, and the speaker is Dr. Elisha Edi. He is a public speaking expert, and he was one of the guests invited to the teacher development training April edition. So we started with introduction, and the training continues.
Thank you, the director, and thank you, all members of this beautiful team. I'm proud to be part of you.
The speaker started with a question about the difference between educator and educationist, and he cited an example of the director of God-Oriented Tutors, Mr. Olaitun Oladipopo. And this is the question: is the director of God-Oriented Tutors an educationist or an educator? And he gave an answer. This is the answer: an educator teaches while educationist studies and theorize about education. That is, the main difference between educator and educationist is the fact that educator teaches and educationist study the theories and is an expert in education. However, we went straight to the main strategies for effective public speaking.
We are considering strategies for effective public speaking. And the things we shall be considering under this topic will be preparation techniques, number 2, engagement strategies, number 3, confidence and credibility, number 4, handling challenges, and number 5, delivery strategies. Understand that as an educator, you are a public speaker. As an educationist, you are a public speaker. Public speaking is different from speaking in public. So whether you're an educator or an educationist, this training is so very important because as an educator, you confront the students, you confront the parents, you confront the members of the public every day you set out to work. Then as an educationist, as an administrator, as anyone having anything to do with education, though not directly involved in the classroom, you are a public speaker because one way or the other, you are speaking with people at the professional level. And it is extremely important that you understand the strategies for effective public speaking to be effective and efficient.
So he listed out those things that will be done that particular night: preparation, engagement, confidence, credibility, handling challenges, and delivery.
I call these strategies PECHD, P-E-C-H-E-D, preparation, engagement, confidence and credibility, handling challenges, and then delivery.
Later, he moved to the strategies for effective public speaking. The first part, which is preparation. So he listed about 4 points to note: set your topic before your delivery.
I call the preparation strategies at D, where A stands for audience. You must know your audience. The students you teach. Are they junior students, senior students in the kindergarten? Are they preschool age? What caliber of students are you teaching? Your students become your audience. Your students become your audience, whether they are adult students, whether they are teenage students, whether they are kindergarten. So you must know your audience, know the demography, know exactly what they stand for, know exactly who they are, and know exactly the do's and the don'ts concerning your audience. This is very, very important. Secondly, you must define your purpose. Of course, you cannot just jump into a class and start teaching when you do not have a purpose. That is where you have to outline a few of these things in your lesson note, in your lesson plan. At the end of the lesson, the student should be able to do this. That talks about your objective. That talks about your aim. That's the rationale. What the rationale behind your teaching? Why are you getting into the classroom? As a public speaker, as a teacher, you're a public speaker. As you get in, you must know your audience. You must be able to do what? To understand them, and you must define your purpose. If you define your purpose, you won't get into the class and you're jumping from pillar to post like a lot of people do. When they get into the class, they don't even know where to start. As they just start telling stories, talking, wherever it lands them. Before you know, the bell has gone. And when the bell has gone, they are out of the class. So they cheated the students instead of teaching the students. And the question comes: as a teacher, as an educator, are you a teacher or a cheat? Someone many years ago said, are you a cheater? Well, there's a word called cheater. It's an animal, the fastest land animal. Then cheat is the right word in the English language. Someone who cheats is a cheat, not a cheater. So are you a teacher or a cheat? If you are a teacher, an educator, define your purpose. Know the students, define your purpose exactly, and then research your topic.
Proceeded to the B part of it, that is engagement strategies. So 4 points were given.
The second strategy we want to look at is what I call the engagement strategy. Now, the engagement strategy, I call it ESTA, E-S-T-A, where E is eye contact. You make eye contact. Connect with, if you check what I've written there, connect with eye contact. You may be wondering, how can you connect with eye contact? It sounds funny. Yes, you connect with eye contact. These students you are teaching, they have their eyes on you. They look at you eyeball to eyeball, and they are saying something to you. If you are looking at them, some of them look at your eye, then they look at somewhere else in the classroom and look at another place or somebody. It means, look at me, look at what is happening where I'm looking at, and see if there's something you can do. So you connect with eye contact. They could be telling you about another student in the class without saying one word, simply by looking at you and looking at that area. So you connect with eye contact. You make eye contact. You connect with these students eyeball to eyeball. But remember, when you look at them eyeball to eyeball, you don't stay there. You look at it in few seconds and then remove your eye. That shows that you are connecting. It's different from intimidating. It's different from being scared. You're looking at someone eyeball to eyeball and you stay there and your grimaces show that something is not right. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about making proper eye contact that exudes confidence, that shows that you are connecting with them. You know, there's a way you look at the child quickly blinks the eye and smiles. That tells you positive. As you're talking, they're using their eye to say something, so you must connect with them. There is a way you look at the child. As you look at the child's eye, the face will show that the child is not understanding what you're teaching. As a public speaker, you must understand that this audience, the child you're teaching, is not getting it, and you should be able to change your method immediately, because some children don't learn by listening, they learn by the things they do. So you have auditory learners, you have visual learners, you have audiovisual learners, you have kinesthetic learners. These different kinds of learners learn when you use different approaches, different pedagogical approaches. So by the time you make eye contact, you understand whether this audience, whether this child or these students understand what you're saying. Once you do that, you'll be able to know the next step to take. Now, number two, use storytelling. The S is storytelling. Use storytelling techniques. Share personal anecdotes and examples to illustrate your points. When you are giving a point, when you're talking, it's important you use some examples. For instance, while teaching certain things in the class, especially the exam class, when you teach such a class, you know, they'll try to show that they know much more than you do. They try to show that they are no longer students. They try to tell you that, come on, they've gone to the secondary school, they've gone to JS1 all through to SS3. In fact, they are done with school, so there's nothing going to tell them that they do not know. At this point, you introduce things that are very within their limits, within what they should know, but you introduce it in a way that they do not know it, and then they want to learn from you. Use storytelling. Tell them a story about a rabbit that went to challenge a lion to a fight, and the lion was scared, and the lion started running, and the rabbit took this for cowardice and chased the rabbit. Never knew the lion was running to its den. As the lion entered it, then the rabbit jumped in and discovered that there were 10 other lions in the pride waiting for it. And then they said, boy, welcome. You are welcome to the pride of lions. You are now our new king. So in this case, what did you tell them? You are telling them running away from a problem is not cowardice. Sometimes it is preparation. You could simply tell them, maybe you're telling them, come on, when someone is running away, shy away. In fact, you may rest a while, but you do not quit. You're talking about something like that. Simply, you could just tell them, well, when you take up a knife, if you take up a knife and you want to cut something, the knife does not just cut it straight. You take it to your back. As you take it to your back, does not mean the knife is scared. The knife is going to gather momentum to come and then to cut the thing. Then there was a fight between a ram and a cat. So the ram was going back. The cat thought that the ram was running away. The ram was going back, and he got to a point and gathered. He came with full speed and used his horn and hit the cat. The cat was flung into the air, and when the cat landed on the ground, the cat couldn't stand up again. Now you see, you delivered your message with that simple anecdote, with that simple story. So move to the third point: vary your tone and pitch. Add emphasis and interest to your delivery. Not monotonous. It shouldn't be you're just talking as if you're not interested. You cannot catch attention because you're just using the same method of teaching. You're preaching, you're talking, you're teaching, and then the children are dozing off in your class, and then you're talking, Ngozi, why are you sleeping? Then some funny students, mischievous students will tell you, Uncle, because you're sleeping too, and the whole class will burst into laughter. So because of the way you do not vary your tone, you are not varying your pitch, you're using the same monotonous level. Students begin to sleep in your class. Why is another teacher, as he enters the class is lively, everyone wants to listen to the teacher, they want to pay attention. In fact, if you drop a thing, you hear that thing because everyone is quiet, because everybody wants to hear that teacher, because the teacher is teaching. At a certain point, the teacher will release his voice to a level that you'll be straining your ears to hear, while you are busy trying to strain your ears to hear. The teacher quickly tells you that we're entering point number 4, and that point number 4 is called encourage audience participation, where the audience is allowed to speak, the audience is allowed to ask questions, the audience is allowed to contribute to what the teacher is saying. Your students should be able to contribute to what you're saying. Create something that will make them to talk. If they don't want to talk, make them to talk. Create a formula. For instance, I went to a class newly. As I got into that class, I discovered this was SS3A class, a top-notch class that everyone in this whole school is scared of that class. As I got into that class, they were like laughing. Who is this? What is he going to say? So I simply told them, write down this spelling. Number 1, Ishalanon, FB, 2FB. Number 2, Kalitie, 3FB. I said, I'm marking. Each is 50%. So 2 questions, 2 words, that is 100%. I went on. None of them was able to write what I said. So 1, I've captured all of them. Then I wrote on the board, ICIALIAN. ION, Ishalianion, 2LB, simply 2 and then FB. Then I explained to them, whenever you're stressing a word, in word stress, when you get to stress in the English language, oral English, you stress any word that ends in IC, stress the second syllable from the back of that word. That's why you have 2FB, IC, IAL, I-A-N-I-O-N. So any words that have these endings, whether it is I-C, I-A-L-I-O-N-I-A-N, Ishalanion, 2FB, I call it that way. So any of these, stress the second syllable from the back of that word. You don't need to do like a fowl that is about to die, that is sick, and is raising his head up and bringing it down when you write the word education to pronounce, and then the child will be thinking, where is the stress? Education, education, education. No, they're doing that, and it becomes a problem because they don't know the strategy. The moment I put that down, I did that, the class became alive. Why was the class alive? Because I was able to get them engaged, and they started bringing other words. In fact, the class centered on that. They didn't allow me to leave because they kept bringing words that ended in this to be sure. They opened the dictionary to be sure that the strategy was okay. Then they asked me for more.
The next point is confidence and credibility. Confidence and credibility. Also, it has 4 points to note.
You cannot be an effective public speaker when the secondary school, or at least you must image education is effective public speaker. You must exude confidence and credibility. 1, develop a positive self-image. Don't look down on yourself, even if the parents of that child or the child himself comes in with a jet, with a rocket, with a chopper. You are the teacher. That child is still under you. Before the child will finish secondary school, you already, in fact, for you to be teaching that child, it means you have at least your NCE, which means you had passed through the secondary school, or at least you must have done your whatever exam that qualified you to teach. You must have at least gone ahead. Develop a positive self-image. Don't look down on yourself, even if the parents of that child or the child himself comes in with a jet, with a rocket, with a chopper. You are the teacher. That child is still under you. Before the child will finish secondary school, you already, in fact, for you to be teaching that child, it means you had passed through the secondary school, or at least you must have done your whatever exam that qualified you to teach. You must have at least gone ahead of that teacher to be that child to be able to stand to teach that student. At that point, you must know that you are the teacher, no matter what they display. You are the teacher. You must develop a positive self-image, no matter what happens. Don't ever look down on yourself. Since I started teaching, I make sure my dressing is top-notch. Once I appear, a teacher has appeared. In fact, most people always mistake me for a doctor or a lawyer. Are you a medical doctor? No, I'm not. Are you a barrister at law? No, I'm not. I am a classroom teacher, proudly so. They'll be wondering, who is this person? I say, I'm a teacher and I will die a teacher. I made up my mind to be a teacher. I've taught, there's no class I've not taught in my life. To the point that I've been to train teachers, been to train the trainers, because I've made up my mind to teach. I teach in the church. I teach the Bible as well. I teach in leadership organizations. I train the trainers. I teach students. I teach teachers. So as a teacher, know that you are a teacher any day, anytime. Your student, no matter who that child is your student. I heard today that there's a school in River State that some parents went to the school and flogged a teacher for telling the child that, oh, this is the first day of resumption and you are getting like this. What happened? And you are a girl child. Your uniform, and the mother came with the sisters and brothers and took Ken and flogged the teacher in the school and said, why must you say our child is dirty? You dare not try that where I am. I will sue you. I'll get to the community wherever you come from. So as a teacher, you must have firm, solid image of yourself. You must know that you are a teacher. You are in authority. You are the pastor. You are the imam.
Hello.
You are the leader. You are the head. You are the father. You are the mother. And you must exude positive self-image. Develop it. The way you dress, the way you talk. Don't be a professional beggar, begging students, begging their parents. You lose your self-image. Number 2, use confident body language and express that any day, anytime. Usually I don't talk in my class. When you do anything, it's just to look at you, eyeball to eyeball. Even everyone is talking, I'm just looking at you straight. Whether they saw me or not, I'll be looking at you. His other student will say, he's looking at you, and the whole class will be quiet. I wouldn't talk, I wouldn't cough. It's just to look. The rest will pass the message. My body is talking, even as you do, the way I stand. But I'm the most jovial in class, the most playful, the most approachable. But you do not mess with my body language. When I speak, I'm coming for you. I'll say, I'm coming for your parents. That's what I'll tell you. I'm coming for your parents. And I'll write a letter immediately to their parents. I deliver the message, and then before you know it, now no student want me to write a letter to the parent, because I'll ask the parent, when you were in school, is this the atmosphere you learned? You are a manager, you are a general manager, you are this in Shell, in Chevron, in the company. Is this how you were trained? A child should do assignments you wouldn't want that child to do. A teacher tells the child, stand, raise your hand up for not doing assignment. He comes to complain. The next day you jump into the school. Why did you punish my child? Then keep the child at home. Eat the school fees, enjoy it, and teach the child. The child should not be in school. I discovered that we're the last that listen to our parents. Now we are the first listening to our children. This is an abomination, if you ask me. Use confident body language and express that. Number 3, show enthusiasm and passion in what you're doing. Don't do as if you're forced. Prepare. That's where the first point comes into play. Preparation. Show enthusiasm as you're teaching, as you go into the class. In fact, as you enter, you should enter the class with electrification. As you enter, the whole class should be shining. We should be beaming with light because you've entered. Everyone should be happy you've entered. In fact, you should enter with your mouth. Enter with a story. You know, many years back, I wanted to teach a particular poem. That poem was very difficult to understand. The technical terms used, in fact, the words were, I can't remember what's the name of the poem. It was about fetish things, where you have this eye of the god, you know, eye of the gods, demonstrating and saying some things. And so they said all those, just like in Agbodansa, something like close to that by J.P. Clark. But that's not the one I was working on. So I discovered that previous years it's been difficult for people to understand this poem. So what did I do? I had to gather my regalia, brought them to school, dropped them in the restroom. So when it was 5 minutes to the time as you get into that class, I went in the dress like a dibia, like a juju man, you know, like Babalawo. I dressed and came out. The whole school turned upside down. I walked into the class. Everyone was, what's going on? Then I started reciting the poem. I hit the stick. And by the time I finished, I then wrote on the board the title of the poem. I tell you, everybody decided to climb up the poem because of what I did. Enthusiasm. Go the extra mile. Dress well. Speak well. Relate well. Of course, when you get home, eat well. Whenever you talk to the students, you talk to the teacher, speak with enthusiasm. Don't speak as someone complaining. Speak as someone who loves what he's doing. That way, you get everyone's attention.